Hello there, very good evening and a warm welcome to the news on Rupavahini Channel I. I'm Sharan Mascarenhas.
Good evening, I'm Lakshita Singha. We start off by taking a quick look at the headlines.
The World Health Organization praises the steps taken by the government headed by the President to control the corona pandemic and for the successful implementation of the quarantine program. The number of corona patients identified in Sri Lanka increases to 146. The United National Party commends the measures taken by the government to tackle the coronavirus. A 5,000 rupee allowance to each of the 5.3 million identified families prior to the 9th of this month. The results of the GCE ordinary level examination will be released before the 30th of this month. Provision of pensions is scheduled to take place on the 2nd, 3rd and 6th of this month.
Now for those and other stories in detail, starting off with local news. The World Health Organization appreciates the steps taken by the government on the prevention and quarantining process related to the spread of the coronavirus. Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, has said that Sri Lanka has achieved a massive progress in a short period of time. A tweet posted by the World Health Organization has mentioned that Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, has discussed the health and economic impacts COVID-19 can have on Sri Lanka and the whole region. In a tweet, the WHO chief had praised President Rajapaksa for mobilizing the whole of government in the fight against the coronavirus. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa urged the Director General of the World Health Organization to pursue with the international financial organizations and lending nations to help developing countries adversely affected by COVID-19 calamity. President Rajapaksa requested the WHO chief to pursue with the heads of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank and the leaders of the leading bilateral lending nations to provide debt moratorium or debt reprofiling facilities for vulnerable developing countries, including Sri Lanka, whose economies depend on tourism, exports, remittances and foreign investment in debt and equity markets, preventing effects by COVID-19 pandemic.
Meanwhile, the number of COVID-19 patients in the country has increased to 146 with the detection of 3 more patients today. The 3 patients whose disease condition confirmed today were residents of Jaffna, Mardana and Kurunegala. The highest number of 21 corona disease patients detected in a single day was reported yesterday. However, 18 afflicted persons have been fully cured and left the hospitals by today. 126 patients are continuously receiving treatments at hospitals. They are undergoing treatments at the Angoda Infectious Disease Hospital, Velikanda Base Hospital and Mulleriyawa Base Hospital. Medical tests are being conducted on 231 suspected corona patients at several hospitals. The highest number of COVID-19 patients has been reported from the districts of Colombo, Puttalam, Kalutara and Gampaha. 2 of the coronavirus infected persons in Sri Lanka have died. The army says that 43 persons who have alleged to have maintained contacts with the second COVID-19 deceased person have been quarantined. Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva said that the army has taken measures to direct the 43 persons to the Punani quarantine center last night without subjecting them to house quarantine or self-quarantine. Even the doctors and nurses who were engaged in treating the patients were quarantined. 21 employees who took part in treating patients at the Nigambu Hospital were also directed to quarantine center in Waika.
කණ්ඩායම නිරෝධායන ලක් කිරීමට සිද්ධ වුණා. මෙසේ මීගමුව රෝහලේ ප්‍රතිකාර සභා සම්බන්ධ වුණ 21 දෙනෙකුන් කණ්ඩායමක් යුද හමුදාව මගින් පවත්වාගෙන යන ලබන වයිකාලේ පිහිටි නිරෝධායන කටයුත්තකට ඔවුන්ව යොමු කිරීමට කටයුතු කළ තිබෙනවා.
It has also been established that a person who has returned to the island after engaging in a tour in Thailand and Indonesia was afflicted with COVID-19. 68 persons who have alleged to have had contacts with this person were directed to quarantine at the Zaira National School in Puttalam. Some of them were directed for medical tests to ascertain application of the disease. The tests have confirmed yesterday that 10 of them were infected with the disease. Our correspondent says that they were brought to the Angoda IDH hospital last night. The group includes 8 males and 2 women. Earlier on the 29th of last month, they have been admitted to the Zaira National School Quarantine Center. The group were brought to the IDH on the instructions of the commander of the 143rd Brigade, Brigadier Dhammika Disanayaka. Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavindra Silva said that the first COVID-19 infected person has arrived in Sri Lanka on the 17th of last month in Malaysian airline OD-185. With this person, 36 others have arrived. The Army Commander has kindly requested any member of this group to engage in self-quarantine. It has also been totally prohibited to enter or leave Akurana in Kandy. The order remains valid until further notice. The measure has been taken following detection of a COVID-19 patient in the area. Heavy security precautions have been deployed. Heavy security precautions have been imposed in the Atalugama in Bandaragama recently with the identifying of affliction among 3 members of the same family. All the roads leading to Atalugama have been cordoned off. All the essential items and services to the Atalugama area are under strict health protection measures. Our correspondent says that even monetary notes in circulation in the area are being sterilized by the Health Division. DIG Ajit Rohana said that in addition to the uniformed police officials and army personnel, police officials attired in civil clothing will take strong action against those who act against the orders. 52 families in China Fort, Pannila and Beruala have also been subject to quarantine with the finding of 13 COVID-19 patients in these areas. The people who have had relations with these patients and those who were loitering in the area have been directed for quarantine.
අපිට මේ ගම ඇතුළෙන්මත් එනවා තොරතුරු ඒ පුද්ගලයාත් එක්ක තව කට්ටිය ළඟින් ඇසුරු කරා කියලා. අපි එතකොට මේම ඒ කට්ටිය නිදැල්ලේ තියෙන එක ඉතාමත් භයානකයි. ගම්වාසීන්ගේම ඉල්ලීම අනුව එකතු කරගත්තා පුද්ගලින් 140ක් විතර. ඒගොල්ලොත් කැමැත්තෙන්ම තමයි ආවේ කිසිම අකමැත්තක් නැහැ. එතකොට අපි මේ කට්ටියව හමුදාවට බාර දෙන්න.
Persons in 2 families in Hambantota have also been subject to self-quarantine. A person in one of these families was reported to have rented one of his houses to a group from Beruala recently. One of them was reported to have afflicted with COVID-19. Accordingly, the family which has rented the house and the neighboring family have been quarantined. A communique issued by the Health Ministry of Singapore says that 2 Sri Lankan nationals employed in Singapore have also contracted the COVID-19 disease. The Sri Lankan embassy in Singapore has also confirmed the news item upon an inquiry made by national television. The Singapore Health Ministry says that the infected persons were males aged 33 and 37 years. The Department of Immigration and Immigration has decided to extend the validity of all types of visas obtained by foreigners visiting Sri Lanka by a further 30 days. Accordingly, the expiry of the visas has been extended till the 12th of May from the 14th of last month. The Sri Lankan Airlines have decided to temporarily suspend all air travel from the 8th to the 21st of this month, taking into consideration of the air travel restrictions currently being enforced. The Sri Lankan Airlines also says that the company is ready to resume operations with short notice before the 21st of this month if the internationally imposed restrictions were lifted. A communique of the Sri Lankan Airlines adds that the company is also hoping to deploy special flights to bring those Sri Lankans in the overseas expecting to return to their motherland. It further says that air cargo transportation is being carried out continuously according to the existing network operations.
In other stories, the Presidential Media Division says that the curfew currently being enforced in districts where there is a high risk will continue until further notice. It further says that the curfew in other districts was relaxed at 6 a.m. and removed at 2 p.m. today. The curfew in the districts of Colombo, Gampaha, Kalutara, Puttalam, Kandy and Jaffna will continue until further notice. In other districts, the curfew, which was reimposed at 2 p.m. today, will be withdrawn at 6 a.m. on Monday, the 6th of this month. However, the curfew will be reimposed in these districts at 2 p.m. on the same day. It is totally prohibited to travel in between districts other than for engaging in essential services. Measures have been taken to implement the law sternly against those who misuse the methodologies being imposed for efficient maintenance of essential services. The government has made all arrangements for the consumers to purchase essential food items and other commodity items from their homes during the period of the curfew. Permission has been granted for all engaged in farming, tea smallholder activities and export crop production in every district. The government calls upon all to follow steps and guidelines with responsibility, as all measures have been taken in the interest of the general public. Villages identified as isolated areas in the Kalathura and Kandy districts remain in such status until further notice. It is totally banned any person to either enter or leave any such isolated villages. Meanwhile, DIG Ajit Rohana said that the police headquarters has strongly informed all officers in charge of police stations to direct persons for curfew permits only under essential circumstances. He points out that the disciplinary action may be taken against OICs who disregard this order. The law will also be implemented sternly against those who travel during curfew hours without a valid permit. The vehicles of such curfew violators are also being taken into police custody. The DIG also said that vehicles such apprehended will be used for the quarantine process according to the quarantine regulations. The police headquarters say that 8,739 people have been arrested since the day of commencement of the curfew on the 20th of last month till 12 noon today. 2,149 vehicles have also been taken into police custody during this period. The police informs the general public not to travel in main roads and by roads illegally during curfew hours.
Now, the United National Party commended the program being implemented by the government to control the expansion of the coronavirus. A group of former parliamentarians of the UNP was engaged in a special discussion with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today. The meeting has taken place at the Presidential Secretariat with the participation of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa as well. The UNP was represented by a group including Deputy Leader of the party, Ravi Karunanayaka. The President said on this occasion that the government was able to control the viral expansion due to direction of foreign nationals to quarantine centres and focusing stern attention on those afflicted by the disease. Head of the Task Force on Essential Services, Basil Rajapaksa, has clarified to the UNP representatives the mechanism to distribute essential services, food and medicines to the general public without disrupting day-to-day lives of the people. Basil Rajapaksa also said on this occasion that the government has taken measures to provide a 5,000 rupee allowance to each of the identified 5.3 million families prior to the 9th of this month. He has pointed out that the entire program should be depoliticized. The two parties have also focused attention to provide speedy solutions to the problems of government employees, entrepreneurs and those engaged in daily jobs in the plantation sector. The UNP representatives have informed the President that the party will enlighten its representatives on district basis of the government's program to control the virus. MPs and ministers including Minister Dinesh Gunawardena also took part in the discussion.
Meanwhile, numerous groups have extended support to the program being undertaken by the government to control the spread of the corona disease. Cash contributions and a stock of protective health equipment in this regard were handed over to the Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa today. The value of the stock of health and medical equipment that was handed over today has exceeded 50 million rupees. They were handed over by the acting Chinese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Hu Wei. Minister Pavitra Vanyarachi was also present on the occasion. The Meteorological Corporation of China Private Company has handed over 100,000 protective face masks and 50,000 pair of gloves to the Prime Minister today. The Fonterra Institute has donated safety health equipment valued at 80 million rupees to the COVID-19 Health and Social Conservation Trust Fund. The equipment were officially handed over to the Prime Minister today. The Akbar Brothers Private Company has also handed over a cheque valued at 50 million rupees to the Prime Minister today. A locally manufactured artificial respirator was introduced to the Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa this morning. The demonstration of the equipment was conducted by the directors of the Consumer Affairs Authority, Tushan Gunawardana, Viraj Pereira and engineer Chamika Gamage. The Prime Minister has instructed the relevant authorities to manufacture without delay more than 200 such equipment and distribute them to the hospitals. The donations and contributions presented to the Prime Minister were handed over to the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. Minister Mahinda Amaravira has donated to the Health Ministry 2 machines being used for PCR tests to identify coronavirus infected persons. The International Atomic Energy Agency has handed over the equipment upon a request by the Sri Lanka Atomic Energy Authority.
We have more stories from home. The government has taken measures to provide pensions on the 2nd, 3rd and 6th of this month. On these days, all pharmacies in the island have been given permission to keep open. The police headquarters further says that all senior citizens could present their pensioners' identification as curfew permit. The headquarters adds that the acting IGP Chandana Wickramaratne has enlightened all police stations in the island in this regard. Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva said that representatives of the 3 armed forces will engage in assisting senior citizens to obtain their pensions tomorrow and the day after. Those who are in need of services could request for transportation facilities through the Grama Niladaris.
තමුන්ගේ නිවෙස් වලින් බැංකු කරා රැගෙන යාමටත් බැංකුවල සිට නැවත රැගෙන යාමටත් කටයුතු කළ තිබෙනවා. ග්‍රාම සේවක මාර්ගයෙන් මේවා දැනගෙන ඔබ රැගෙන යාමට ඉල්ලීමක් කරන්න මේ අනුව ත්‍රිවිධ හමුදාවේ නියෝජිතයෙක් හෙට දිනේ හෝ අනිද්දා දිනේ ඔබගේ නිවසට පැමිණිලා මේ ආකාරයෙන් ඔබගේ විශ්‍රාම ලැබුම් ලබා ගැනීම සඳහා ඔබට සහාය වීමට කටයුතු කරනු ලබනවා.
Minister Janaka Bandara Tennakon has presided over a discussion to enlighten officials including district secretaries in this regard at the Ministry of Public Administration today. Now, meanwhile, people in areas where the curfew was temporarily lifted were seen arriving in towns to purchase essential items. However, our correspondents pointed out that there has been a somewhat decline in the crowding. Most of the persons have been complying the accepted health procedures. Items were brought from common markets including the Satosa in the Gaul town. Those who were in the queues have maintained the 1 meter or even longer distances between each other. Our reporter added that the overcrowding that had prevailed at previous instances of lifting the curfew was not seen today. Even in the upcountry, large crowds were not witnessed in towns as previously. However, large queues were seen at the Satosa sales outlets. Most of the consumers were wearing face masks and maintained a distance of 1 meter or more among themselves. The lack of crowding may have been attributed to plantation workers storing necessary food items for several days. The correspondent further said that some private shops have sold a kilo of big onions for 180 rupees and other essential items such as salmon and dal for higher prices. Residents in Vaunia have also arrived to the towns to purchase essential items with the relaxing of the curfew. Opportunities have been provided for the people to engage in trading along both sides of the main road, creating a somewhat lessening of traffic congestion. The police and the public health inspectors have taken measures to establish the health protection of the people. Meanwhile, large crowds were seen in Kattankudi, Valachane and Kalavanchikkudi towns in the Batiklo district upon lifting of the curfew. There has been overcrowding at Satosa retail shops as well as meat stalls and other business centres. People in Matale have also arrived in the town in the morning to fulfill their requirements. Long lines were seen in front of banks and pharmacies. The Dambulla Economic Centre was a relatively deserted location today, with a sharp decrease in the arrival of both farmers and traders. 46 stalls at the Economic Centre remained closed in the morning. One of the employees at a trading place was directed to the Anuradhapura hospital for a COVID-19 test last evening. A three-wheel driver was reported to have handed over a purse with 5,000 rupees to the traffic officials of the Hatton police station today. Driver of the three-wheeler M. Shankar said that he saw the purse in the back seat of his vehicle when he came to Hatton from Watavala. The traffic policemen have handed over the purse to the owner. Meanwhile, people in large numbers have arrived at the Kegaul town with the lifting of the curfew to purchase the essential items including medicine. However, the police has mediated in closing down some of the shops.
Minister Dalasala Perumal says that results of the GC ordinary level examination will be released before the 30th of this month. The minister at a media briefing in Colombo requested all concerned not to be deceived by false information propagated by certain irresponsible social media in this connection. Minister Dalasala Perumal said that the GC ordinary level examination results were scheduled to be released by the last week of last month. However, due to the prevailing situation in the country, the results could not be released. However, all answer scripts have been marked.
පහක පමණ කණ්ඩායමක් අකණ්ඩව සති දෙකක පමණ අභ්‍යාසයක් කළ යුතුව තිබෙනවා. විභාග කොමසාරිස්තුමා පොයිත මැතිතුමා ඇතුළු විභාග දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව මේ සඳහා කැප වෙලා ඉන්නවා. අද අපි කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලෙත් සාකච්ඡා කරා. අපි ඇඳරි නීතිය මැද්දේ මේ කණ්ඩායම කැඳවලා අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා අප්‍රේල් මාසේ 30 වෙනිදාට ප්‍රථම අපොසප සාමාන්‍ය පෙළ විභාගේ ප්‍රතිඵල නිකුත් කරන්න. විශේෂයෙන් ඇතම් වගකීම් විරහිත සමාජ මාධ්‍ය පුද්ගලික ගිණුම්වල වැරදි තොරතුරු ප්‍රචාර වෙන නිසායි අධ්‍යාපන අමාත්‍යාංශයේ මේ වගකීම් සහගත ප්‍රකාශය ඔබට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. එවැනිම ප්‍රකාශයක් උසස් පෙළ සම්බන්ධක ඇතම් මාධ්‍ය ආයතන දෙකකුත් ප්‍රධාන ධාරාවේ මේ ප්‍රවෘත්තිය පළ කරලා තිබුණා උසස් පෙළ විභාගයේ කල් යනවා කියලා. කිසිසේත්ම අධ්‍යාපන අමාත්‍යාංශය හෝ විභාග දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව එවැනි තීන්දුවක් අරගෙන නැහැ. පහේ ශිෂ්‍යත්ව විභාගය සම්බන්ධ. ඒ සම්බන්ධෙනුත් අර ආකාරයෙන්ම ප්‍රවෘත්තියක් තමයි ප්‍රචාරය වුණේ. නමුත් කිසි ලෙසක අධ්‍යාපන අමාත්‍යාංශය කිසිසේත්ම අපි එවැනි තීන්දුවක් අරගෙන නැහැ.
Minister Bandula Gunawardena says that acceptance of applications for university admissions could be conducted within 2 weeks after recommencement of the school terms of government schools. The minister said that some candidates have not properly filled the applications for university admissions sent online. They were not able to apply before the 9th of next month. The minister added that therefore they have decided to give them a 2-week period upon recommencement of the government school terms. He also said that the arrangements have been made to students to engage in the educational activities from home itself through the cooperation of state and private institutions.
විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ශිෂ්‍යයන්ට මහපොළ ලබා දෙනවා. ඊයේ දිනේ වන විට අපි රාජ්‍ය බැංකුව හරහා ඔවුන්ගේ ගිණුම් වලට මුදල් බැර කරලා තියෙනවා. සියලුම නිවෙස් වල ඉන්න විශ්වවිද්‍යාල අධ්‍යාපනය හා උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය ලබන දරුවන්ට දුරස්ථ අධ්‍යාපනය යටතේ අන්තර්ජාල පහසුකම් යොදාගෙන සියලුම විදුලි සංදේශ කටයුතු පිළිබඳ රාජ්‍ය හා පුද්ගලික ආයතනවල කාරුණික අනුග්‍රහයෙන් ගාස්තු අය කිරීමකින් තොරව නිවසේ සිට අධ්‍යාපනය ලබා දීම සඳහා කටයුතු යොදලා තියෙනවා.
It has also been disclosed at a media briefing of the government's decision to maintain Eye and Netra channels of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation as 2 national educational channels. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that the presidential and cabinet approval has been received to turn the Eye and Netra channels of Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation as educational channels of the students.
Eye නාලිකාව හා නේත්‍රා නාලිකාව ලබන සතියේ සිට අපි දරුවන්ගේ අධ්‍යාපන නාලිකා බවට පරිවර්තනය කරන්නට ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ හා කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ අනුමැතිය ලැබුණා.
පාසල් පද්ධතිය තුල
Minister Dalasala Perumal said that the 2 main accepted concepts in the school systems are the e-learning and self-learning. He said that the President, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet have given permission to use these 2 channels as educational channels from the 20th of this month.
96 persons who underwent a 14-day quarantine at centres maintained by the Army have left for their homes today. Head of the National Operations Centre to Prevent COVID-19 and Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva said that 10 persons at the Diatalava Quarantine Centre and 86 persons at the Damminna Quarantine Centre have left today. A group of Sri Lankans who has arrived from Qatar has completed a 14-day quarantine at the 6th Gamunu Regiment Quarantine Centre in Damminna Dimbulagala today. They have left the centre in 3 buses of the Army and in several private vehicles. All of those who have ended quarantine at this centre were residents of Jaffna, Gaul, Kandy and Gaul other than of a single foreign national.
We have been very well
10 more persons who were at the Diatalava Army Quarantine Centre
by the medical team, by the kitchen, by everyone, and the measures that have been implemented by the Sri Lankan authorities to tackle this current situation. I think this is the right approach that has been taken.
10 more persons who were at the Diatalava Army Quarantine Center have also left for their homes today. The group included a resident of Kandy and 9 residents of Colombo. It has also been reported that 60 more persons have commenced quarantine at the Diatalava Center. Head of the National Operational Center to Prevent COVID-19 and Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva said that 2,118 persons have entered 14-day quarantine period at centers maintained by the 3 armed forces and left for their homes. He also said that 1,794 persons continue to engage in quarantine at 33 centers. He further said that 194 persons will conclude 14-day quarantine at centers tomorrow. Public health inspectors of the Office of the Medical Officer of Health Ambagamur have taken measures for a 14-day quarantine of 8 businessmen in Hatton Town last night. Documents certifying completion of quarantine period were handed over to foreign nationals who have stayed in Kalutara, Vaskadua and Potupetiya yesterday. The group included a couple from Portugal who have completed a 14-day quarantine.
It's a good system and we feel very protected.
I think the government is taking the necessary measures.
Very kind, always supportive. Yes.
Comparing to my country, you are
Very kind.
much better.
Around 200 plantation labourer families in the lower division of the Darawalavatta Dikkoya Hatton have been directed on a 14-day self-quarantine with effect from yesterday. Medical Officer of Health Ambagamu Division Krishan Premasiri says that the measure has been taken upon confirmation of the fact that one of the preachers who had come for a prayer session at a church in Hatton Dikkoya has afflicted with the coronavirus disease. He also said that large numbers of persons from garment factories have arrived in the plantations recently. Stringent security measures have been enforced in the area with the setting up of police roadblocks. DIG Ajit Rovana said that they have informed all those who arrived in the island after the 16th of last month and remained in the country till the 19th of this month to register themselves for quarantine. The DIG added that in response to their request, 2,913 persons have registered for self-quarantine. He further said that those who fail to adhere to the order will be dealt legally. He also said that special teams will be deployed to arrest those who have failed to register.
The government has taken measures to continuously implement programs relating to distribution of essential food items and cash contributions to people affected by the curfew. The state and private sectors are the sponsors of this program. Vegetables in large quantities were brought to the Manning Market in Colombo today as well. 65 lorry loads of vegetables and 40 lorry loads of fruits have arrived. However, a decline in the presence of retail traders have been witnessed. As a result, vegetable stocks were sold at prices below the control prices. Our correspondent further says there was a lack of interest among the general public to purchase goods. The Litrogas company has commenced a program to dispatch Litrogas cylinders to homes of the consumers. The consumers could obtain their requirements from the closest agent by dialing the telephone number 1311 of the Consumer Services Division of the company. The Litrogas further says that consumers are able to receive information on the nearest representative by entering the website www.litrogas.com. The Colombo Municipal Council has organised a program to distribute dried food bags to 15,000 families in the CMC limits. The Navy, meanwhile, has brought essential food items to Nainathev in Jaffna. The Sathosa shops in the area have provided essential items to the residents in the island on the instructions of the Navy Commander, Vice Admiral Pial de Silva. The Capitipola Samurdhi Bank has distributed a sum of 4.25 million rupees among 845 Samurdhi beneficiaries in Capitipola Badulla. Each of the recipients have received 10,000 rupees. Meanwhile, farmers in the Valava zone have been directed to the cultivation of additional crops, with the government allowing them permission to engage in farming. This is how the national television has captured scenes of people in the Galle district commence vegetable cultivation in home gardens and barren lands. Plans have been made to commence 54,000 home gardens in the Kurunegala district under the 1 million home gardening program. The Variapola Agrarian Services Centre was engaged in the distribution of vegetable plants to the home gardeners.
That's all the stories we have for you tonight. Do join with us tomorrow for more of the very latest. Good night.